Hi, this is Sophia with I Love You 33. Today I'm going to show you how to make a no-cut quilt or a cheater quilt, which means we don't have to sit here, cut out a bunch of pieces, small pieces, sew them all together, then put our quilt together. We're just going to use 2 pieces of fabric, some batting in between, and then put a nice trim around the edge, and job done. What I have here are fabric and batting and trim already cut out for 2 quilts. I'm gonna make one that's a kind of more boy theme and one that's a girl theme. I was just gonna make one for a little boy. A friend of mine just recently had a little baby boy. But then when I was picking out the fabric, I saw this great cheater quilt fabric. It's more girly. So I thought I'd throw that in here as well because I love the fabric. It's by Birch, and they make great children theme or organic cotton fabric that's just amazing. So I have that. That's going to be one side for both of them. Then for the backs of each of them, I have this fun circle flannel fabric and then the batting. And you can see on one of the quilts, the girl quilt, I'm going to do a rounded edge one, and then on the boy one, it's going to be a square quilt. So everything's already cut out. I have my trim. I just used the extras from cutting out the flannel for the boy one. So this is gonna be my trim here. You just cut it out and then sew the pieces together to make one long strip. And then for the girl one, I used some of this fun, it's a travel theme fabric. So I used that for the trim for the girl quilt. So we're gonna start with pinning it all together, then we'll get sewing. As you can see, the quilts are all pinned together. So it's the top side, the batting in between, and then the flannels on the back. And I've cut them all to the same size and just pinned around so that they stay kind of together as I'm sewing. What I'm gonna do with the cheater quilt fabric one, the girl one, is I'm gonna literally, as you see all the squares, I'm just gonna line each square. And then with the road trip one, I'm going to just do kind of a checkerboard, but not exactly. I'm gonna kind of do some lines spaced a little bit further away from each other, and some ones a little bit closer, and then I'll do the horizontal ones as well. So that's what I'm gonna do with each of these. Let's get started. So the hard part is now done, the sewing of the quilts together. This one, the cheater quilt, was definitely easier because we had the lines to follow. This one where you don't have any lines, my lines got a little off and got a little crooked, and that's fine. It adds to the look. It's fun. Don't worry about crooked lines. So the hard part is done. Now what we're gonna move on to is the trim. We're gonna take this in a couple steps. First, just take your trim, take it right side of the trim to the right side of the flannel fabric. And you're just gonna pin that around. Then we're gonna take a straight stitch and stitch that on. That's what we're gonna start with. I just wanted to show you real quick what the corners will look like once you've pinned your trim along the flannel side. This is how the square corners will look. You don't need to cut it at each corner, just wrap it right around. And the same with the rounded corners. That's how it's gonna look. The trim has now been sewn on, so right side to right side of the flannel. And what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna show you how to do each kind of corner. This is the round one. So you're gonna just flip this trim over. Then you're gonna take the edge, and we need to just fold over a small amount of that edge. And then what we're gonna do is, instead of just pinning that down, because if we just pin it down, it tends to that fold that we do just tends to kind of come up, and it makes it a lot more difficult than if we take our iron and just fold and press. So then once we sit down at the machine, it's much simpler. So that's what I'm gonna do, is I'm gonna just iron this one, then I'll come back and show you how to do the square corner. But the round corner, it's pretty simple. I mean, you just fold that little bit under and then press it so it stays just like that. So here is the square corner. Same thing, flip it over, take a little fold, and then we're gonna press it down. It's just a little bit different than the round edge or round corner. One side I know it seems kind of like, oh, I don't want to have to go around and iron, but I promise you, the ironing will make the sewing part so much easier. Then in the corner right here, I don't know if you can see it, probably not really, but we're gonna do the same thing I just did right there, but then fold in this. So you see how that sticks out right there? I'm gonna fold that under and over, just like that. Does that make sense? That's what we're gonna do for the corners. So the quilts are finally done. We made it through. They turned out great. I love how they look. This one, as we know, was easier because we had the lines to follow. This one wasn't as easy to keep those lines straight, but once we just gave up and forgot about having straight, perfect lines, it was fun and it turned out great. It has a nice story throughout this whole piece of fabric, so it turned out great for the no-cut quilting, and this one for the cheater one, excellent. I'll definitely do this one, and if not this one, again. I hope this inspires you to get out there and quilt some more. If you want to check out other tutorials or my clothing line for little girls, come on over to iloveyou33.com. Thanks for watching.